The year was 2012. Life was pretty good. I was in a relatively new job where I was promoted quite quickly. I had a growing family. I was a proud father to an adorable 3-year-old boy, Lucas. He was obsessed with the Titanic, and that's quite a challenge for me because it's hard to find Titanic toys that aren't so tragic. But basically, life was pretty okay. Couldn't complain. It was those two words that hit me every day. Things were great, but why couldn't I tell myself I was happy? I even felt guilty thinking about it because how can I have all these things and not be grateful? Anyway, May of that year, I was at birthday drinks, office birthday drinks of a colleague. Her name was Julia. We were sharing a cigarette, sharing stories about our kids. She has two girls of her own, right? We were competing about who was cuter. But that eventually evolved to something around like our parenting styles. And that was a conversation that started to change my life forever. What that conversation did for me was reflect on everything that I had. First, when it came to Lucas, I didn't seem to have a hand or a say in how he was raised. And in the broader life, I allowed other people to make decisions for me. It wasn't mine. I was a passenger in my own life. Anyway, because of that, Julie and I spent more time together, right? We loved these conversations. But before I knew it, I was in a full-blown affair. This was a problem because I was so gone, I was so enthralled by her that I was seriously considering leaving my marriage. But I couldn't do it because I knew there was a cost. The cost for me of leaving my marriage was that Lucas would be taken away from me. And that I could not bear. So for months, I ran a double life. Every day I would think about how I would just come clean and move on. But every scenario that I played in my head about just coming clean and moving on would end with saying goodbye to Lucas. And I just couldn't. So for months, I sat on the fence. On New Year's Eve, just a few hours after the celebrations, as we were turning in to go to bed, my phone, which is always on silent, lit up and rang loudly. Julia calling. I didn't have to pick it up, but the question came sharp and quick. Why is that woman calling you at this hour? Time froze. All I could hear was my heartbeat. Boom, boom. I spun a story so quickly so that I could just keep the lie going. But I hesitated. Boom, boom. I saw Lucas laying next to me. He was sleeping. And that's when I knew that it was time. I got back into that room and I came clean. There was no fight, no fuss, no drama. Was just told to leave the house immediately at the middle of the night. The weeks after that were probably the toughest I've had in my life. I didn't see Lucas or speak to him for weeks. My parents were deeply disappointed, didn't hear from my family. I lost a lot of friends because they took sides. So it was very lonely. More importantly, I lost Lucas. And for the years after that, I labored to get more time with him. What started with 2-hour chaperone visits, I felt like a convict. that graduated to 4, 8 hours, overnight stays, small trips, all chaperoned. 3 years ago, no. The most painful thing actually about that time was that Lucas was in the dark. He did not know about my situation. He did not know he was already part of a family with Julia and her 2 daughters. But 3 years ago, he met them for the first time. And I was quite surprised to hear that he was very, very happy because he told me he actually wished to have siblings because he too was lonely. So now, 9 years on, Lucas is integrated into my family, right? And as for me, like in the beginning, what can I say? Can't complain. But this time it's different. This life is mine. It was hard, but it's worth it. And I'm proud of it. I can't imagine being anywhere else. Thank you.